Hello, everyone. Welcome to webinar 32. Today, we'll be talking about optimizing your e-commerce website for conversions. Um, I think it's best to kind of recap on what we did these previous few days. As you guys probably noticed, we didn't have our webinar last week. Instead, we were over at the Vegas market, or rather, we were recovering from the Vegas market. For those who are unaware, Vegas Market is a thing that they host in the winter and the summertime over in Vegas, and they sell furnishings, home decor, and things related to the home. And so Lumaprints decided to go out, and for our second time in Vegas, we went over to the Vegas show or the Vegas market, and it was really fun. Definitely very busy this year, and as much as last year, if not a little bit more. It was very successful. We were really glad with the reception. We talked to a lot of customers, new customers as well. So hearing people's feedback on what the products were and interest in it was very useful. We were there for, I would say, give or take 4 to 5 days. Um, but yeah, it was a whirlwind of things to do and talking to customers. It was a lot of fun, so I'm glad that we were able to go. It was me, um, my manager, Sarah, and our CEOs, plus one of our sales guys, Scott. So we had a good time there, and maybe next week we'll bring up some photos from it. But today I just kind of want to explain why we're kind of not here last week. I think that the previous webinar before last week was us talking about expanding your product line. So if you're ever interested in figuring out how to expand on products on your store, what that looks like for your store, and any of the variables to take into consideration, that's a good video to kind of reflect back on. So that's on our YouTube channel. If you don't know, all our all our Zoom videos are then uploaded onto YouTube thereafter. So if you miss any of the topics or you can't make it to some of the topics that might be of interest to you, then you could always check us out on YouTube, subscribe, or feel free to just tune into some of the videos of interest. With that being said, let's get into this week's topic, which is conversions for your e-com store. Um, Let me go ahead and bring up the presentation real quick. That way I get some visuals for you guys so you guys can get better understanding. Kind of like a quick intro if you're not aware of what conversions are. Conversions is when a customer or a potential customer goes onto your store and does a action that you would want them to take, and such as either sign up for a newsletter, making a purchase, subscribing, following on a certain account, things of that sort. Whatever that action is, you want that to be kind of like the converting rate. So for here in this example, we're for every customer who makes a purchase versus every customer who visited, you get the conversion rate. And so we'll be talking particularly about finding how to create the customer convert to a purchasing customer and talking about how you can improve on your conversion rate, as well as, you could always take this information and then apply it to other objectives you might have going forward. So again, it's applicable to different things. However, for this point in time, we will be talking about sales. If you have any questions about other aspects of conversion on your website, such as conversion for having people who follow socials or conversions for people having subscribing to your newsletter, things of that sort, then we could talk about that after the presentation. Feel free to ask in the chat as well. So I kind of wanted to break it down by how you can convert customers into paying customers at every step and where it all begins. And the first step would be then how you can bring people into your store in the first place. So acquiring that audience in general. From there, you want to make sure your website is very user-friendly, has a good UI and UX. For your customers, by that I mean user interface and user experience. You want to make sure to them the purchasing experience is very compatible and makes sense to them, as well as conversion funnel optimization. Funneling means, you're breaking it down, making it easier for people to purchase at certain points in time, and also making sure that they get from point A to point B seamlessly without much, steps or too many buttons and things of that sort. Of course, there's testing and analytics that you can do in the meantime as well. By that, using different optics and different A/B testing strategies to understand your customer better, as well as understanding of what will help them succeed in making a purchase. And then, of course, post-purchasing, then how are the customers experienced through their feedback and the way they engage with your website? How does that work and how can you improve thereafter? So taking the feedback and, reviewing it and improving. Starting with the traffic and acquisition, of course, we're talking about solely the non-marketing items. Rather, we're going to talk about how you can go into your store with no marketing costs and just go in and how can you improve your website. SEO strategies and SEO improvements is one of the first steps to take. And I was talking to my coworker about this a bit, but we were discussing how, for example, meta tags or meta descriptions are very important for a website, especially for people to find them, because oftentimes most other retailers or sellers don't use meta tags, for example. And so you kind of put yourself at the forefront if you are utilizing tags. Um, if you own a Shopify and you ever wondered what the tags were at the very bottom, those are the meta tags on your product listing editing site. So consider utilizing tags that make sense for your store and making sure that the tags you are using are relevant. I think that you need to kind of tread a line versus what's good, popular, and trending, and what's saturated and might not bring in the customers with the purposeful intent to purchase something from your store. Um, so, for example, um, we used custom dog prints. Say you do art of dogs or you draw dogs, and for your customers, it might bode well for them to look up custom dog prints or custom dog pictures or portraits. And there, in which case, you can utilize either Google Trends, which is a free service to use, or you can use other programs like SEMrush, which is helping you figure out what keywords do better in comparison to other keywords. If you ever use Google Trends, for example, you can see regionality and popularity between those regions. Sometimes it could be the difference between using coastal art versus beach art. I know that with a quick Google search between the two, beach art was more popular and it's most popular in Maine. So those free resources are very useful for you if you want to decide to use them for your store, and utilizing them for your descriptions, and your tags are also very potent as well. Um, if you ever wonder, like, should I put effort in my descriptions here and there? At the very least, it's worth doing it for some products you know that have potential for selling really well. It's worth investing some time and effort into making those descriptions and product um, titles. I think that if you ever need to kind of help leverage or help save time, there's also programs that will help you write down interesting descriptors for your products as well. So if you ever need to find time to utilize those are also a possibility. Um, Another thing is just to create a very compelling content. And content doesn't necessarily always have to mean social media, especially if that's not your thing. Another very fascinating way to, make compelling content or make content that moves people to purchase, is blogs. And blogs are usually, one, informative, and two, people are usually looking for these information in the first place. When people are usually Googling stuff, they're trying to figure out how to do X, Y, and Z, or they're trying to learn more about something with some descriptors and some informative information at the end of it, hopefully. So, for example, one of our customers here, Jenna Sue, she uses DIYs and she also does other blog posts that are related to her line of work and her own art. And for her, she says this is how you install a wall mural installation. And so if, she sells wall murals or she sells them on her own store, then she could leverage that to then put onto her website and share it through the blog. So um, if you do things like watercolor or if you do a particular kind of art, you could definitely make some articles about how you do your own processy and then link in your own products in case people really like the end result of said product or said a design that you decided to showcase in the blog. So that's a very useful thing. as same with the product title or the products that you have on your store, utilizing key descriptors or keywords is important as well. Doesn't mean you should make your blog too robotic, filled with very potent words, but at the very least, you should sprinkle them in to make it a bit more viewable when people do Google those questions. Okay. And then we're going into the website usability and design. Um, Here we have, as an example, Karen's Fine Art for her mobile website. And what I love about her mobile website is that you could see all the pricing there, and how it's available from the get-go. And she also has a really nice descriptor that isn't cut off. The images are very visible. Um, I think you could also utilize the keywords and descriptors in the title itself. And so for some people, why that might seem really long, it's going to help people get to your products in the first place. Another key aspect about website usability is making sure that the navigation is on point. And so, say you have a lot of products and you offer different types of products, it's worth putting it in the header of your website to add in those things so people are aware of what you're selling from the get-go. If you do different genres, be indicative of that using a genres header, or if you have a sale. For example, it's good to have a sales header on your website. And so thinking about what type of headers you want to have on your website is a good starting point. And then from there, you can definitely create collections. You could create seasonality. You could create different types of looks, and you could test out what works for you, as we'll talk about more in detail later about A/B testing. But at the very least, it's worth having a few headers that are specific or might then reel in a customer into purchasing. Because say you sell really fantastic dog portraits, but you don't make it known at the get-go of your front page because you may sell other things. Um, a call out here or there, at least on the homepage, is worth a consideration for that. Um, There's also call to action buttons that a lot of people don't really think about, but are very necessary when you want to improve on your conversion rate. It's a little bit just more than add to cart, but you can definitely add another one where it's like offering quick checkout. It's also offering, PayPal purchasing if you offer that on your store. So think about ways that you can add additional buttons without making it oversaturated with buttons, of course, but instead of the one add to cart button, you could have the add to cart or the buy now or quick checkout button. So two types of buttons that might service the customer better, one or the other. Um, Another thing would be, once something is added to the cart, then it could open up a small widget that says add more or continue searching. If related items are also really important too, which we'll discuss a bit later, but in general, it's always good to not only have them on product listing pages, but also have them on other parts of your website, such as the homepage. So if you have a product that you know does really well, then you could definitely add an add to cart at the homepage next to that product, for example. Um, Another thing people don't really think about, but I think is really important, is improving the website speed and performance. Think about how if your customer is out and about searching on their phone, or they're searching on their laptop, but the internet's not so good. You want to make sure that when they load into your website, that it's pretty seamless, and even despite the slow internet, they could still go into your website and still be able to look at the imagery. Um, One of the main things that I find customers have issues with is that they upload the images in high res onto their website, as kind of a forewarning when it's really important to protect your images from people reusing them or sending them elsewhere. So you want to make sure that your images that you have as previews are optimized to, one, protect your imagery, and two, they aren't too big that they slow down your website. So next time you decide to upload your artwork on your website to showcase what the person is intending to buy, think about reducing the imagery to the minimum requirements for the upload while still looking crisp and clean. Um, And then also protecting the images from being replicated as well, because oftentimes people get their art stolen online because there are high-res photos readily available. So it works in two ways. One, it helps your customers load into the website better, and two, it protects your images. You could also check into your see how fast your website currently is using pagespeed.web.dev. That is a place provided by Google, and they kind of tell you how you can improve on your performance. What are some pinpoint pain areas that your website might be experiencing, and what you can do. So that website is a godsend for those who want to figure out how to improve it, but don't know where to start or don't know what's slowing down their website from the beginning. So take that website. I will link it in the YouTube video thereafter, and feel free to look at this right now and search it up later or what have you, but it's a very useful website to leverage. Um, and then as for the funnel optimization, as I mentioned in passing earlier, but it's really about simplifying the purchasing process for a customer, as well as helping customers feel reassured and also feel good about their purchase. So the purchasing processing and experience in of itself, how are you making it fast, secure, and making the customer feel good about that purchase? One of the ways is definitely offering a quick checkout processy. So as much as you want to retain customers and have them sign up and have them put in their names, their birthdays, or their emails so they could share the newsletter, you also want to provide some customers with just a quick checkout, because an important part of that is also some customers just have an intent to buy at that moment, and they might not have all the time in the world, or they want to do it quickly. You want to make sure you're catering to them. Auto form fields, that's something that some websites offer. You should look into it if your website does or does not offer it. One of the ways you can definitely see how the user experiences their purchases is purchasing stuff on your website yourself and seeing what that purchase experience is like. If you find yourself spending more than 5 minutes trying to purchase something, then it's worth reconsidering how you can make that process a bit more optimized. Um, the multiple payment methods are really important in my opinion. Say you are at a very high price, PayPal does pay in four or pay in segments. And the way that works, I believe, is that PayPal does pay you immediately with the purchase, but then the customer is able to pay back PayPal in intervals of four within the time span of, I think it was 2 months. But offering different types of payments and looking into what the latest payment methods are, such as the Pay in 4 by PayPal, are just some of the ways you can improve your website and also improve your customers' experience. Um, I think another thing is, sometimes people aren't aware of it, but they are often comforted by security badges and signals for trust and also customer reviews. So while a customer might be interested in purchasing something, these added things might help them feel a bit more comfortable and probably more readily available to purchase something, as opposed to them having second guesses or hesitancy towards making a purchase on your website. Um, I think security badges, certificates, and payment provider logos are all important. It's also important to maybe offer customers to know that their credit card information is secure with your website. Things like this are all important to just making your customer feel like they're going to feel good about their purchase and also feel like they could trust you. This helps with building a trust between you and the customer at the end of the day. And then lastly, if your customer decides not to go with the purchase, or they tend to exit and not make a purchase, it's worth, sending either a follow-up email or offering personalized deals thereafter, just to let customers know that, hey, you didn't make a purchase now, but if you decide to make one later, here's a discount. Or left this in your cart, don't forget, kind of situation. There's actually not some, but there are a lot of applications that help with follow-up emails and also providing offers to your customers should they leave their cart, or should they intend to spend a lot, but then at the end don't make that purchase. So it's worth doing some research. I know that at least with Shopify, I think they already have an integrated email follow-up thing that's already implemented. If not, and you're looking for something a bit more customizable, then there are apps that have that. As for testing and analytics, especially it doesn't matter at what level you are, whether you're a small store that's just started or you're well established, A/B testing is very important and it's worth looking into the analytics and how people respond to it. Um, I think either you could experiment with something as easy as just the layout of your homepage or product listing, or even experimenting with descriptors or experimenting with imagery. Um, and it might seem like a hassle to do it for all things on your website. It's very doable and manageable, in my opinion, if you do two products with two types of listings and two types of formats and see which one does better. They could be similar products, for example. And from there, you can figure out, well, which one tends to get the better purchasing rate. And so you could do that on your homepage. You can change it up every once in a while. People are used to that, where they see a homepage and it might like look different the next time. Just be wary of drastic differences, of course, but if you feel like maybe I should add in a product listing at the forefront of my homepage, or maybe I should add in a carousel, all these things may change the conversion rate of you at the end of the day. Apologies if it gets loud. There is a mower outside. They like to mow the grass at 10 a.m. on Thursdays, I guess, but nonetheless, there are different methods you could do just to improve on your website's user experience. Um, and you could always check back on the back end of most websites, and they'll let you know how many visitors you had that day and how many purchased. So you could definitely make that one of the things you use as a variable, which is the design of your website. Here are some other notes to keep in mind. You want to see how your customer interacts, and and you kind of don't know where to start, and you can't tell if they like it or not. Well, probably check on to see like at what point do customers leave your website. It could be very telling of what pain point there is if you notice people drop off at a certain step on the way. So say there's a lot of customers on the homepage, that's great, but then you notice that they never make it to a product listing page, and that's where a pain point might be. Is it because there isn't a product listing in the homepage, or is it because it's convoluted to get to your catalog? Or is there not enough widgets that lead to your catalog? So think about how you can see more traffic build in as they go further into the purchasing experience. And if you notice a drop off at any point in time that is drastic or not normal when you see the funnel, then figure out how you can improve on that specific homepage. Google Analytics is another great thing to utilize. If you don't know, Google Analytics helps you understand your website better. It also helps you with your SEO in general. It's a great source to use. Um, it helps you with customer acquisition channels. So say you use social media, newsletters, and other points that to connect to customers outside of your website, then it'll let you know from what channels they're coming from. So if you notice an uptick through Google, then figure out how you can make a Google user's experience a lot easier for them to go to your website. Say they find a specific product and that's a high landing page, then how are you going to make it so they could see other products within that page that they land on from Google? Um, I think that another thing is to check on user feedback. If there is a part of the place where there might be confusion, say the wording of the descriptor is notable because people aren't purchasing a set product as often, that's also something to keep in mind. Customers are often open about leaving reviews, and when they are, they're usually critical, but it's always good to take that critical feedback in earnest and see how you can improve on it. Say someone says, I don't know how to purchase from your website, or it took me a while to find a product on your website, or I was looking for this, but I couldn't find it. Figure out how you can improve on that, say change the search engine on your website, or figure out how you can make it easier for people to filter out specific products from your catalog. Those are some points there. Um, Heat maps are a very interesting thing to use, but they're commonly used by those who are really interested in how customers interact with their website. Um, tools like Hotjar or Crazy Egg have visual representations of where the heat maps of your website are. If you're unaware of website heat maps, it lets you on the back end know where people's mouses are hovering a lot. So if you notice that they're hovering a lot on the images, or they're hovering a lot on the homepage or a specific header, it'll let you know where they're intending to go, and also let you know where do they often find themselves going to naturally? And is it arriving to a product listing? Is it arriving to an add to cart page? If it's not, then it's worth trying to redirect them so they are more in tune to adding something to their cart, or at least considering adding something into their cart. It'll also allow you to just improve on your website overall, but heat maps are a great tool to utilize. And then going a bit more on the user experience and also feedback and engagement. I think we talked about this last time on a previous webinar, but it's always good to bring up. But it's really important to provide personalized recommendations based on either browsing history, things they purchased in the past, or maybe what other people are buying in tandem with what they're looking at right now. So, say two products are often bought together, then it's worth looking at making sure that they're always next to each other on a catalog, or if they're buying it and then underneath there's a related items carousel, then it's worth making that one the first product that they see on the carousel. If you notice the uptick in people buying them together, it's kind of a interesting to see then how would it work, and will it do better if you make them side by side or more visible. Um, as you see here, this is one of our customers, Sense for Decor, but they themselves utilize related items, and it's art that is related to the art that they have on the main product listing. And so either it's visually the same color, the same type of style, same genre, or similar aesthetics, then all those do work together to help make your customer one buy and buy more, secondly. Another thing is making feedback and live support very visible. As you can see here, often the contact us just reassures to people that there is help when there are questions. Um, so say, your customer is interested in a product, but they want to know something about it specifically. Sure, it might be in the descriptor, but sometimes they feel a bit more comfortable if they ask someone, or sometimes they don't see the descriptor, so they want to talk to someone. But it's offering different points where they can receive information or receive information about their set order as well, lets them know that they could have assistance throughout their purchasing experience, whether it's during the purchase or post-purchase. Um, and as for the contact us live feature, you could either utilize places and establishments that provide um, live chat. If you have your own customer service team, you can have them utilize this. Or, for example, it's just you and you're running a one-man show, then you can have the light chat feature, but it doesn't mean you have to live chat per se. It could definitely be send a message and it'll relay to your email. But then from there on, it's important for you to try to respond in a timely manner. That way, the customer does feel like they're being helped out, and in that moment in time, especially if there is a strong intent to buy at that point in time. And also, it'll be great if you provide parts of in the chat box itself. It will help you and the customer if you provide some buttons that will ready fasten the process for them. So here you can see they have a order status feature. You could also provide another feature that's like interested in a product or interested in knowing more about the artist or things like that. And then it could either be an automatic reply with the readily available information, or it could then lead to you talking to them directly. But there are multiple ways to utilize the live chat feature. At the end of the day, you want to make it easier for you, and you also want to make it reassuring for your customer. And so the chat feature shouldn't be more work. It should just be more swiftly addressed with whatever your customer might have issues with, or just might be curious about learning more about. Other things is offering loyalty programs and incentives that could help improve the conversion rate, especially if especially for returning customers. So after your customer makes the purchase, they're more often than likely to be a customer that might purchase again. And they're probably the strongest type of customer base to have are customers that are already well established in your store. How are you rewarding them? And how are you making it feel like they matter in your store? Providing royalty programs or providing discounts because they made two purchases in the last 5 months or things like that. Um, Giving them statuses. So say they purchase a handful of times, then you could give them a specific tag to their name and it makes them feel like a valued customer because they purchase from you time and time again. So it's just, positive reinforcement, if you will. Um, there's also tiered rewards, so that could be based on how much they spent or how often they purchase. If they have a history with you, you want to make sure that in the future they continue purchasing from you. So the loyalty perks or high value customer tiers, if you will, are really important. In general, also having the reviews readily available and very visible on your website is important, either on the home page or the product listing itself. Note that it's not always 100% necessary to put in the reviews solely for one product. Oftentimes, I find myself on websites who do have reviews, they'll have reviews of all the products collectively on a product listing page. Um, Probably either if that product or image doesn't have reviews, then you could definitely utilize that. If that said product does have reviews, then make sure that those are at the top of the list so people have the relevant information. But all of this is just to help with customers feel safe and feel reassured because other people have had good experiences on your store. If you're seeing that people are not giving good reviews, then it's worth probably putting it on a lower tier if you're noticing that. And then from there, of course, figure out how you can improve on those pain points that people are experiencing. But overall, if people are really liking your product, you want to make sure future or potential customers know that other customers like your products because it just helps with them feel reassured by that. Okay, and that's about it. So, let me know if you have any questions. I know that was a lot of info. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the conversion rate is going to be anywhere in between 5 to 8% depending on your website and depending on the niche that you're in. However, you want to always aim for improving that conversion rate because you have customers viewing your store, window shopping, if you will. How are you making sure that they, at the end of the day, they want to purchase something? So making that intent to purchase stronger as they explore your website further or as they land on your website. All these things and considerations that we talked about today are hopefully helpful for you guys. And hopefully, with that being said, your website improves. As we always say, you could always optimize your website either as seasons or trends change or any other things. Let's see. Do you have any metrics for ACR specific to the canvas industry, both custom pictures versus artworks? So just note that with every industry or every genre of art, there is specific metrics and specific things to take into consideration. From the canvas industry, or at least from our experience, we noticed that as long as you're very notable about the canvas itself, noting that is a canvas image does help a bit. For descriptors such as customization, think about custom what? So is it custom artwork or is it custom, photography? Is it custom sentimentals, seasonalities? Um, I think if you were to do pets, for example, or use tags like pets, cats, dogs, and whatever animals you do. If you do it with a specific type of theme, we have customers that do superhero custom artwork, or they do birthdays or remembrance type of specific artwork. Make sure that whatever genre that you're tuning into the things that are most looked up on. So again, Google Trends or SEMrush are both really interesting ones. Custom, as in the customer provides photo versus artwork already designed. Yeah, so if you're talking about customers just uploading the imagery and then putting it on a canvas, it really I think matters on what niche you want to target because it's a very broad statement and it's very saturated of just doing custom photos onto Canvas. It's worth looking into what are the popular trends between those custom artworks. I think for us, we noticed that it's very popular with weddings, birthdays, remembrance, and then from there, it's very popular among people who want to do gift items. So think about what are the gift giving item seasons such as Valentine's Day or what was the other one? Easter or Halloween or Christmas. So seasonalities are very popular with custom artwork as well as the word gift giving or present. So think about those items and how they leverage with the custom artwork or custom photography. Hopefully that was of help. But again, there's a lot, it's a very saturated market. And so you don't want to be general in that aspect. Instead, it's worth doing different listings, even if they do the same thing, which is uploading a custom photo of, of their own. You could say upload your family's portrait or upload your pet's picture. So even if it's something you do all around, no matter the imagery, it's worth creating those very targeted and specific listings on whatever website you're on. Hopefully that was of help. Let me know if you have any other questions, Thomas, but thank you for the questions. As for the conversion rate, at the top of my mind, I'm not 100% sure. As I previously discussed, I know that it's a very saturated market. Um, and so, as for the custom prints specific to the canvas, um, I think 2% is, one would see that as definitely on the lower end, but then how are you making those, conversions from there into purchase? I know it's really hard at the beginning to kind of understand where it goes. I think going into specifics does help. Um, and then at the end of the day, you want to look into the different, if you already have people who have made purchases already, see what type of images they are uploading. And if you notice a commonality or a trend, then it's worth making a listing revolved around what, they might have done. So for example, if people tend to make a lot of, you know, uploads of their families, pictures, then it's worth making a listing or maybe something that says, family portraits, or portraits of mother and father or kids. So those are some things to look into. Again, I understand that it's a very tough market. I think we work with some customers, and the ones who do really well are the ones that tend to work within a niche demographic or a niche product, even if they do custom prints all around. What I'll notice is that their best sellers tend to be the very specific ones that call to a specific event or to a specific type of purpose. So hopefully that was of help, but I get it. It is tough when it comes to the more popular markets, such as custom portraits or custom artwork. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Um, in the meantime, if there are no questions, just note that we do upload these videos onto YouTube thereafter. So if you found anything here interesting or any of the websites were of interest to you, but you missed the link or the website, we will also upload that onto YouTube and provide it in the descriptor so you can have a quick click in, such as the pages speed optimizer or page speed provided by Google. I know that one's really important to have and to utilize. So, and we'll also, share things like the Google Analytics and SEMrush. So hopefully those will be of use to you guys. And of course, if you have any questions there after this presentation, feel free to leave it here in the Zoom. Otherwise, you can also let us know via our customer service team on our website. They're very helpful. And should there be any questions related to the webinar, they're more than welcome to pass it along to me. So thank you guys. We'll see you next week with a new webinar. But in the meantime, please enjoy our YouTube channel. If there are no other questions, I will see you guys next week. So see you guys.